our featured guest, John B. Wells. His website is also jbwells.com. I encourage you to check that out, as well as caravan2midnight.com. And we've been discussing a number of interesting topics. Let's get into the preparedness issue, if you're up for that, John.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. So let me lead that off by saying, well, you know, Max Kaiser predicted here on the Alex Jones Show last week that there's going to be a financial crisis, a big one, like a global derivatives meltdown of some sort by April of 2013. Now, I know you and I are both reluctant to put our necks on the line with a specific date, but what do you think are the possibilities of what might happen in the next couple of years?
In the next couple of years, that's a little bit of a stretch. Next couple of months, I might take a poke at it. Next couple of years, I just have no idea. I wish I did.
Well, you go for it.
And you know, nobody likes to make a prediction and have it not, make them look like an idiot. But yeah, you predicted and nothing happened. I predict nothing will happen on December 21st, 2012, except a lot of drinking. Okay,
there you go.
But now, as far as this economic collapse, I'm trying to think outside the box that we have been put in mostly through mainstream media. An example of which might be an ad, and thanks very much for mentioning caravan2midnight.com. Going to the Fukushima thing is like the real tragedy of Fukushima, according to a article I just saw today from the Wall Street Journal. That's mainstream media, if I ever heard it or read it. Well, the biggest tragedy is that everybody's so worried about it.
We're going to cause it by thinking about it.
Yeah, that might cause some real ripples in the nuclear power industry, you think? And maybe that's why that's the only article I've seen that, they get more radiation in Denver than Fukushima. It's like, and we attribute the fact they have the lowest cancer rate in the country to lifestyle as opposed to radiation levels. Oh, really? Well, the thing about it is the experts are baffled. And when the experts are baffled, that means they're not experts. So as far as the preparedness is concerned and what to expect over the next couple of years, this whole thing that we've been brought into, since debt and interest and all of these huge loans that are written really don't constitute actual physical cash, only technically.
Right.
They're actually created with the stroke of a pen. Then I wonder, now we're at almost $17 trillion in debt. That's a 17 with 12 zeros to the right of it. There's not enough money on earth to pay that down. I wonder how much of that is actually principal and how much of it is interest that's been rolled over and rolled over and rolled over. So now the big buzzword is, just like SARS, swine flu, mad cow disease, blah, 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 blah. They just sprayed over half of Texas with insecticide.
That's right, West Nile.
Normal over West Nile mosquito. So what is the calamity du jour? Well, right now, the war the war we have going on is another 10-year affair in the Middle East, and the big problem that threatens us all is not an ongoing war that involves our volunteer army in an undeclared conflict, which makes them mercenaries, whether they like it or not. I don't like it. I don't want them used that way. But now we have the threat of economic collapse. Simultaneously, as a matter of fact, it was on Alex Jones's Infowars site, which I visit every day, that the FBI is saying, turn in your bin Ladens. Cash is the currency of terrorists and drug dealers. I'm beginning to wonder if this whole economic crisis is nothing but a bloody fabrication.
Really?
Yes.
Well, how would they use that fabrication then has got to be the operative question, and we got to go to break again.
I'll tell you how, my brother.
Hold that thought then, John, when we come back.
Again?
We have another quick break. This is a very short one, 1 minute. We'll be right back to answer that question with John B. Wells, who's kind enough to stick with us. And thanks for joining us. We'll be right back after this break right here on The Alex Jones Show. We're continuing right here on The Alex Jones Show with our guest, John B. Wells, the Saturday night host of Coast to Coast AM, who was just theorizing that, hey, perhaps some of this or all of this financial crisis talk is actually a trick to be used against us in some way that he's about to describe right before we went to break. So John, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
There was this movie once upon a time called 3 Days of the Condor, and Robert Redford couldn't figure out why the guy with the MAC-10 and the suppressor on it, the mailman, was after him. I hate to ruin the movie for anybody who hasn't seen it. It's from the Stone Age, but in the end, it was because he read books and he had discovered a storyline in there that absolutely positively correlated identically to something that was actually happening. So I wouldn't want to be that guy. I don't want to see the mailman unless he's got a nice check for me, which I find myself in continuous need of. But in any case, I think it's all in furtherance of a different kind of monetary system. I think it's in furtherance of an electronic system. A quick example would be someone that I know well and have for many years is in the retail business. And now the parent company wants to pay every 2 weeks instead of every week. But what they really want them to do is take it on this card and use this debit card for all of their expenses. Now imagine all of the people at the top who really have these actual assets. They have gold. They have actual cash. They position themselves however those at the top deem would be the most appropriate way to protect that wealth, and then flip over to an electronic system. I mean, there's more and more electronic funds transfers happening all the time under the guise of going green. Okay, I can understand saving postage and paper, but imagine if it's so easy to steal now, how much easier would it be to steal if all of the money was just a 1 or a 0 going down an internet pipeline somewhere from one computer terminal to the next? What this means is that you protest, your money is gone. You don't pay a ticket, your money is gone. You've got a $5,000 tax bill, but you've got 15 grand in the bank. That whole 15 grand's gone because you may have done something else.
Right.
It is an ongoing, rolling attempt at total control and total oppression, and that's just how I see it. I'm sorry, but that's how it is. And an old relative of mine, a writer named H.G. Wells, I'm paraphrasing, said, a lot of people are going to be upset over this new world order, and many will die protesting it.
Wow. Well, I think you're right on the money with the money issue, and they're already starting to describe cash as sort of a tool for terrorism. People who have cash must be bad people.
Oh, if you even buy your coffee at the same place and you're observed doing this and you do it all the time with cash, this could make you suspect.
Oh yeah, that was the FBI announcement. A few months ago they put out these warnings to cafes and internet cafes, different kind of retail establishments, to say, oh, if people show up and pay with cash, or if they have a tattoo, or if they look like this or act like that, they might be a terrorist. And these are just normal everyday activities.
I can't really, I appreciate the opportunity to be with you on your program, because it allows me to rant a little bit more than I would do on Coast, because that's a slightly different deal. We get into these heavy subjects, but, we also cover, garden fairies and Bigfoot and flying saucers and paranormal and, electronic voice recordings and all that stuff. I'm sick of it. Ever since I have been literally a child, it's either been hiding under a desk during a drill, like that's going to help you in the case of an atomic bomb being dropped on you, to the Vietnam thing that went on interminably. I mean, I was a kid in elementary school when the Vietnam War started, and I was of voting age when it was over. And so we have a little bit of a lull, and then the Russians go into Afghanistan for 9 years. In the meantime, we're sort of killing Russians by supplying the Mujahideen. And our CIA trained bin Laden, and now they leave, and there's some upheaval here and there. Now we're there for 9-10 years. I'm sick of it. I really don't know personally what to do to stop it, but at least I can complain about it. It's like General Patton said, if you run out of bullets in your rifle, use your pistol. If you run out of pistol, throw your helmet at it, throw your gun at it. And if you can't, urinate at it as it goes by. Do something, throw something at it. So all I can do right now, I can't start a political action committee. I don't have the kind of money to throw around to start some sort of a movement. But at least I can come on the public airwaves and complain about it and try and raise some awakening. I asked a young woman the other day, about 30 years old, I said, but does your generation want freedom?
Oh, good question. Well, what did she say?
She said, well, yes, but I don't want to start a war.
So what, they want freedom handed to them? What is that?
I don't know what it means, but my response to her was, I do. Because what has happened is, Let me wax theological just for a moment. My favorite Southern Baptist preacher, I'm not really Southern or Baptist, but anyway, I like him. I had a sermon. I just happened to catch it at a friend's house, walking through, and it's on. And he was saying, you pray and you pray and you pray and you pray. And you're in dire straits. It's terrible. And then you pray, oh, God, please help me. Your prayer is answered. Your problem is gone, and you don't really need God anymore because the problem is gone. Thank you, God. And then just forget about him. That's the end of your piety. That's the end of your devotion. You just go back to business as usual. That's what we've done in this country. We had a long propaganda campaign of, the red, white, and blue, and mom and apple pie and the girl next door, and we're going to defend our homes and defend our way of life and all of that. There were lots of little cartoons even about the evils of socialism creeping in. Guy looks like Snyder Whiplash, and he shows up and he's trying to get the American people, one person here, one person there, to kind of go along with his way of thinking. And in the end, they sent him packing because socialism was not for the American way of life. It was just not going to work. Well, now people have been comfortable for so long that they're like, well, maybe we should try it.
Yeah.
I mean, we came here to get away from Europe, and now the first person said was Bill Clinton with in Germany, they do such and such. It's like, in Germany? Wait a minute, I thought the whole world was supposed to be like us.
No,
right?
We've forgotten the real threats to us. I read recently in the California Constitution, I was doing some research on the raw milk issue, and I noticed in the section that requires law officers or peace officers to have an oath of office, underneath that section, there's a paragraph that says that they also have to affirm that they're not part of the Communist Party because there are efforts by communists to infiltrate and take over the government of California. That's in the California Constitution. And I read that in shock because what has happened in California? The communists have essentially taken over the government, or at least people who have that kind of mindset of community property and no rights. You can't even sell fresh milk in California anymore. That's a communist kind of idea. Astonishing.
Every band of armed, murderous rebels has tagged themselves freedom fighters.
Sure.
We've heard freedom, liberty, vigilance, justice. We've heard it so many times. I mean, it's been cartoonized through Truth, Justice, and the American Way, with even as far back as the old Superman series. I think our eardrums have become numb to these words. I don't think we even know what they are anymore.
Well, no, I think we know. I mean, freedom is having your genitals grabbed by the TSA. That's the new America. Wouldn't you agree?
People allow it.
It's the red, white, and Sandusky freedom is the new airport motto. See?
It's almost like looking off of a balcony. You look down at the traffic where I am, and you see almost all the cars are one of three colors, either a silver or silver variant, black or white. Every once in a while, you'll see a red one. Every once in a while, you'll see a blue one. Every once in a while, you'll see a green one. But the vast majority are silver, black, and white. So every once in a while, you get a red car to go through an airport and say, get your hands off me. What's the matter with you? And, oh, boy, they make a big deal out of it because, oh, well, you're challenging our authority. The first thing that got my attention was several decades ago when it began to be called law enforcement.
Right. Instead of peace officers.
Never heard of law and order ever again, or peace. You just said it, or peace officer ever again. It's like law enforcement. It's like, and then you see parking enforcement. Well, does that mean you're going to force us to park? And in my day, that meant you were going to kiss your babe. They're going to force you to pull over and be amorous, or you be ticketed. I mean, it's just stupid.
As you know, John, half this battle is a linguistic battle. They play word games with us to tell us what these words mean and try to confuse us with words like, oh, you're an extremist group now if you believe in freedom. That's extremism. Anyway, stay with us. We got to go to break again. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us. Sick of the good-sized segment right here with our guest, John B. Wells. Thank you for joining me today. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger.